Good morning, students. Today we are doing with our third poem, that is A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. Leslie Norris was a famous Welsh poet and short story writer. He was born in 1921 in Wales. His first poem was published in 1938, but his first book of poetry came out in 1943. This poetry, A Tiger in the Zoo, consists of 5 stanzas, each is made up of 4 lines. The poem has two distinct settings. The first setting is that of the zoo, where the tiger is put in a cage. The second setting is that of the natural white habitat of the tiger, which should have been its real place. The personification of the tiger is evident as the poet calls him he and not it. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on paths of velvet quiet in his quiet reach. The poet says he stalks, that is, the tiger is bound in his cage and he walks quietly in his vivid stripes, that is, the stripes on his skin are clearly visible. The few steps of his cage. The tiger can take only few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. On paths of velvet quiet, one cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of tiger's footsteps. In his quiet rage, he doesn't seem to be happy to be in his unnatural abode. So, without showing any anger, the tiger walks quietly in his cage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Lurking means waiting secretly, to be hidden so as to wait for prey. The poet says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass. He lies in the shade of trees unseen to his victims. He slides silently through the long grass before charging upon his hunt. He reaches silently to the water hole where plump and well grown up deer come to drink water. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. Snarling, that is, making an aggressive growl. The poet says he would terrorize people, that is, the tiger would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. The poet says that unfortunately the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong building material. His strength behind bars. Poet says that as the tiger is behind bars, so his ferociousness is also behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage. He just stalks in the cage, that is, walks in his cage, a small cage, ignoring visitors. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. They are locked in the cage The tiger walks around arrogantly, ignoring the visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. At night, the caged tiger hears the last voices of the patrolling cars. The tiger shows no interest in the sound created by the patrolling cars of the zoo authorities and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Being locked in the cage, the tiger looks towards the sky. He goes on staring the brilliant stars that are shining freely in the sky like his brilliant eyes. The poet raises a moral issue here, and he intends to present a strong case against the cruelty of humans for the animals kept in cages.